How's it going, everyone? Hopefully you're doing well. Welcome back to the Advent Calendar. Today we have got the ELC Even 90. This is probably one of the best light tanks that you can get for just pure scouting. So if you are looking for a tank that is going to be based around not really using its gun, because its gun is quite bad, actually. You know what? Actually, no. The gun is terrible, okay? Like, yes, sure, you get an autoloader. It doesn't have DPM. It doesn't really have accuracy. It doesn't really have alpha, and it doesn't have the pen. Not to mention that the dispersion values when on the move and turning the turret are just awful, so you kind of have to use V-stab. With all that being said, it is one of the best camoed tanks in the game. It gets ridiculous camo. If we go into the comparison, I've got a few here. If we go down to the bottom, you'll see the view range and also the camo rating here. So as you can see, 56 or 49. This is with one loadout where we have CVS and the bounty exhaust system and also optics. Optics is like the #1 thing, and then CVS also if you want to spot stuff. These two combined just give you massive advantages when you're scouting, especially on maps like Prokhorovka, Malinovka, stuff like that, to try and get people out of those bushes, because it's minus 20% to anyone behind cover of bushes and stuff like that, and also minus 12% to enemies on the move. So these two are really powerful for scouts. And then you see here that I have the bounty exhaust system to try and boost the camo even more. The other one here, I believe, is with vents instead of the bounty exhaust. So again, you could do this if you want to forgo some of the camo. I would recommend that everyone just puts camo directive on them, because if just boost it up as much as you can. But even if you don't, you still get a decent amount of camo as long as you do have the camo crew. And then these other two was just me messing around. What if we remove CVS and, you know, you could go like this, you could still get 500 meters view range, and you could still get really good camo. And then this one was just a bit of a meme one. We get the turbo and CVS with optics. No camo, but still you go 48 nearly. If you remove it, 45. So even without the directive and vents and stuff like that and this exhaust system, you still get 45, as long as you do have your camo crew, which everyone should have on a scout. So with those builds, you can then decide which one you would like for yourself. The only other thing that you could do is you could build it towards the gun handling, but the problem is that if you do it for the gun handling, you're going to need V-stab, and then you're going to need maybe vents. Like, it just, I don't know, like, you're still getting really nice camo, sure, but your DPM's just useless. Like, 1.2 is not good. Like, that's really bad, and that's with food. Like, even if you put the vents directive on it, it's still not changing. Another thing why you wouldn't want to use the gun is because it gets 950 shell velocity on the premium rounds and 760 on the AP rounds. Yeah. So, the gun is pretty useless. And it should only really be used up close and against other light tanks if you need to. But considering that the light tanks should be staying alive as much as they can and conserving their HP early game, especially with an autoloader because you are more deadly later on in the game, I don't see the point of doing this. You might as well just go for one of the other, you know, options that you've chosen. I mean, you could even go with a camo net. It's one of the few tanks I would maybe do this with, and then you could go with vents, and then you combine that with a camo crew with the camo directive, and you get 61.6% camo when stationary. That's not while you're in a bush. Like, you could go into a bush and have even more camo on top of that until you hit the cap, which I believe is like 80%, and at that point they have to come into proxy. So again, this could work. But with this type of build, you do need to be careful, because when you are moving, you're not going to be able to really spot anyone, because you go down to 443 meters. So you are going to be needing to get into the bush and just stay there and just hope for the best. But yeah, those are some different options for you. I don't really like it too much, just because I don't like the way that the playstyle is, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad tank. I know many people that love this thing. If you just ignore the gun and just go for the targets that you know you can do damage to, because heavy tanks, you might as well just throw that out the window. I mean, although, because it's so small, you can actually go up and underneath a lot of heavy tanks, especially like the Japanese heavies, and then just go and farm them, because they won't have the gun depression to kill you. So there are, you know, different ways of actually getting around the terrible gun, but it's the best tank for passive scouting, by far. So do I recommend this thing though? If you want the passive scout, yes. If you don't, this is not an all-round vehicle. It's not like the Hawk 30 where you do have a gun and you can go in and, you know, fight people. This is going for 5,100 gold, which is around about 5,200 gold, which is around about £16. So it's pretty much the exact same price as the Hawk 30 was. And that being said, obviously, it's going to suit the certain people that want a true scout. So if you are one of them, you can't really go wrong with this. But for everyone else that wants a more kind of objectively all-round light tank, this isn't the one for you. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you'll have a good Sunday, and I'll see you tomorrow on Monday for the grind and another advent calendar.